So the two things that tango's really done for me, it's taught me how to be assertive because I had to walk through a person, and the more I walked through a person, the taller I stood,
Ah,
and then because of that, I had more command of my body language, and then people started treating me differently, and I kind of noticed that connection.
all right, we are back with another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot, and today we are going to be talking about assertiveness and how to find the borderline or the line between being assertive and then being an act, right? Is there a line? Where is that line? And how do we know if we're assertive enough? Um, and so this is a very important topic, I would say, because I think in my experience, a lot of people that I dance with, they enjoy someone who understands how to be assertive and know what they're doing, have control of their dance, whether musically and with their partner. And I feel like a lot of people that I've danced with really respond to that.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, like the main reason why I continue with tango is because it's helped develop my body language to the point where I can understand where my confidence and that line of the balance between being overconfident and egotistical and where assertive is. So I definitely think it's a thing to be developed, so here's a funny question, and that is, can you ever be like, have you ever found yourself where you're trying to be assertive but you never got there? And how do you know where assertive is? No, no, it's a legitimate question because that was something I was struggling with in my 20s.
Yeah, when I first started out, I would say that I come from Asian family, and you're taught to be more going with the flow, kind of be in the background, right? Don't make a show of yourself. And so I came from that, and I really had to develop. Some would say, some who have known me a long time would say, Derek, well, you enjoy the spotlight. And I'm not going to disagree with that statement, but I will say that learning to be more assertive, especially interpersonally with other people, was definitely a challenge for me over the years. And when I first started tango, I definitely did not want to be the bus driver, right? Who's like manhandling, my followers and doing all these kind of things. That was the thing I was most afraid to be like. And I think that hindered my ability to be more assertive.
Mm. For me, like the whole thing about being assertive was a huge journey for me. I mean, when in my 20s, I didn't date much. I mean, no, there's no way to beat the bush around that one. So yeah, I didn't date much, and it wasn't from the lack of trying. It's just that I wasn't assertive, and I'd go around just told simp it out, just do
Try to
things.
please every
Yeah,
find
yeah.
every way to please
It's
the
like
person.
yeah, and just totally simp it out, like
Yeah.
because there was like, oh, girls like flowers, girls like this, and
Yeah.
like they just want a helping hand, and it's like, I was break my back, and then it's like, and it's always like, some Don Juan jerk would come in, and it's like, you know,
Well, I think most guys go through that phase. The
yeah, yeah,
nice guy phase is the initial thing that I think a lot of guys think that is the ultimate way.
yeah.
Because I remember in high school, I did the same thing. I remember it was Valentine's Day. There was a person that I had a crush on, and it was nutrition. And I had brought roses and chocolates and a teddy bear. And I said, Happy Valentine's Day to this person. She took my flowers, took my chocolates, took the teddy bear I gave her, said thank you, and went on her way.
With another guy.
No, no, that she said thank you, and then just proceeded, exit stage left.
So is that so you
She
did
gave me a hug, and then just like that was it. But I
okay?
was it was one of those like expectation and reality. Like
Yeah, yeah.
my expectation was like I just instantly make out with her right there or
Or it's
something.
like, oh, you're so sweet. Here's my number.
Yeah, yeah, something along
Yeah.
those lines. And the reality was like, thank you, and that was
So is that how you developed your like
it.
your teddy bear cabeceo? Where you go,
Itinerary.
your little teddy bears.
Mm. Yeah, it's the Cabaseo is an interesting one because I don't know, just it's something I'm working on, and I definitely need to work on the assertiveness of my cabeceo sometimes. I feel like as I've gotten more experience, I've needed to I don't actually need the cabeceo because so many people are just already cabeceoing me.
Yeah,
And so although that's really nice, it doesn't, I don't have to work on my cabeceo,
that's
which
true.
actually makes me worse at that particular skill,
Hmm,
right?
hmm. The thing with assertiveness for me is that like I got a lot of that from tango, and it wasn't because I built confidence in tango. A lot of it was because um, one of the things that you have to do in tango, and a lot of girls will say this too, is that you have to be able to walk through a person.
Mm.
Because
Not be afraid, just
yeah, yeah,
push through.
yeah. Because many times, like I was very hesitant because I was super nice.
I'm gonna kick you. I don't want to kick
No,
you.
yeah, I was like, it's like, oh, I want to be soft, I want to be smooth, I want to be very comfortable, and then it just came out. It's like I don't know what you're doing. You know? No, it's like it's so soft she couldn't hear you, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, just gonna get right to her toes so she has a lot of room and it's gonna be really safe," you know?
yeah. Everybody's like, what is going on?
Yeah, yeah. Like, "I don't know where you're going. I can't feel a thing." You know? It's like one of the so yeah.
And so, what was the breaking point? What did you
Well,
push out of that?
no, actually, well, what happened was you know, it was Elizabeth, the teacher Elizabeth Tambasco. Uh, um Yeah, she noticed that I wasn't really pushing through, and
Mhm.
then, like, I was walking, and then she'd come behind and just shove me, you know? And she's like, "There, that's what you need," you know? It was, yeah, Edmundo would always, like, and I'd always be like, "Dude, like, I don't know what's going on," you know?
Mhm.
And like, so the 2 things that Tango's really done for me, it's taught me how to be assertive because I had to walk through a person, and the more I walked through a person, the taller I stood.
Oh,
And then because of that, I had more command of my body language, and then people started treating me differently, and I kind of noticed that connection
mm.
between the more I practice walking through people, the more people
Is
change.
that more of like a posture thing? Like you put your shoulders back, you stand up straight,
Well,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
because the thing is, if you walk through a person, you also have to stand up tall. Because if you walk through a person like this,
Mm,
they're gonna bend over and you're gonna shorten their legs too.
that's true.
So a lot of it is the posture and then also the ability to walk through a person because if you can stand tall but then you might break if someone comes up close to you. It's like those people who like are really close, like hello, and you're like whoa, you know. Like there's those really close, like close talkers,
Yeah.
so like, but if you could stand to that and you could hold your position, then like it's almost like boxing, people are gonna see if you flinch or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. If you can hold your ground,
Mm,
and some people there's no reason to hold your ground, but at the same time, it's like if you don't hold your ground, then you break.
yeah.
So Tango's really taught me a lot about assertiveness, and I think the other thing was I didn't I learned it in Tango, but I also learned it in other things, and like that lesson kind of went away, and I didn't see it until it came back. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this, but I studied capoeira for about like 12 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things in capoeira is that you had to do handstands.
Okay.
And I sucked at handstands. I still do suck at handstands.
Okay.
But I could hold it for a bit now. And it was like, where do you find the balance point? And my teacher would say, hey, you have to go past your balance point to find your balance.
Mm.
Because if you just always go a little bit there and you're
You'll
not
never
quite there,
get there.
you'll never get there. So you'll
Yeah.
never know what it feels like. But if you go past it, you know when to pull back. So the assertiveness, so on my journey to be more assertive, unfortunately,
Gonna be super.
no, I became a total jerk. I was like super like, you know what? Okay, here's the funny part, and a lot of people won't. Well, a lot of people won't believe this, but for 2 years, I worked as a bouncer.
Really?
Yeah, at the Shark
At
Club.
a nightclub?
Yeah, at Costa Mesa Shark Club.
Really?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
actual nightclub or
yeah, yeah.
bar?
No, an actual nightclub. They had
Okay.
Asian nights on Fridays. Like, yeah, I know.
Like you were the main bouncer in the entrance. Like, no, sorry, you can't
Yeah,
come
no,
in here.
well, I wasn't the main bouncer, but I was one of the guys. Like, I would like check out IDs and everything, and I would like I had to pull people out when they get into fights.
Really?
Yeah, I had to testify twice because there was a guy with 3 strikes
Oh
once.
man.
Yeah, I was actually shaking my boots. I thought I was gonna die. It's like the guy was a gang member.
Well, to be a bouncer, you have to have that assertiveness. Like, hey, keep the line moving. Hey, what are you doing? Like, isn't that a part of the job?
It is, but the problem is that like I went overboard, because I didn't know where that line
You like
was.
got power trip,
Yeah,
power
I
tripping.
was power tripping, and because it's like I am a bouncer now, like I control the line, so
Man,
it's and that's a funny thing, and yeah, I mean it was good times back then too, but it was also kind of funny because everyone would clown me because I was like the guy that no one thought would make it.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Vegas, I used to joke with the bouncers. I'd be like next to this really big guy and be like, you think I could be a bouncer? And they actually would take me seriously. You know what? We have people like your size that work, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, going with being a bouncer, you don't have to be big, you don't have to be strong.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, here's the other thing. Even if you want to be a bouncer, you don't have to know any martial arts training. What they really want is a person to take care of business without throwing a punch.
Oh,
Because the minute you throw a punch, ABC gets involved.
what do you mean ABC?
The bar commission, because every time the fight breaks out, it's a sign that you don't know how to control your liquor.
Oh, wow.
So the whole idea is you don't want the police involved. You don't want you want the to quote dude, the spice must flow. The money's good. No, sir, the money train needs to keep on going.
Yeah.
It's a gravy train. So every time there's a fight, the gravy train stops.
Mm.
You know, and then you have cops breathing down your neck and wondering like, should we pull your license or not? So yeah, no, it's but it's going back to assertiveness. It's You got to go past that point. You really have to go past that point.
But
To
how
know.
do you know like how far is too far, right? Because I sometimes I feel like, man, is this like am I manhandling now? And actually some people are like, oh, it was really nice, blah blah blah. So I don't even know like to the point of where is too much is too much actually.
And
Just in terms of that.
again, it comes back down to you need feedback from your peers. You need
Yeah.
feedback from your friends. I thought it was cool at the time. Then some of my friends would just go. Actually, my brother came up to me like, "Dude, you're an now," you know. And then he went off and said like, and you got a fragile ego too,
Ah,
So I
okay.
mean, just because you are more pumped up doesn't mean you have control of your ego, and it's very and like if 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 something happens where like your ego breaks and then you start becoming reactive and you start like lashing out and stuff, you're like making ad hominem attacks and everything off the bat because like yeah, it just shows how weak of a person you are. So assertiveness, it's something that's not, I would say it's something that's not learned, it's something that's tempered.
Mm,
um
curated.
yeah, like because it's like you have to, because it is kind of like because it has to be forged. It has to go be under like extreme heat. You have to like be able to take the pressure, and you won't know until the pressure's there. So you're always testing yourself, and at the same time, getting feedback from your friends. You have to trust. You have to have good friends you can trust.
Yeah, because
You
a
know,
lot of friends are gonna lie, not tell
no,
you the truth and
they're like yeah,
sugarcoat things.
yeah. It's like hey, like Slay King, you got it, man. I mean, no, seriously, it's oh man, you know what? If guys if guys pumped each other up like I've seen some of my lady friends do, we'd be screwed.
You'd be screwed. It's interesting because I actually had a similar experience when I was living in Las Vegas. I had a roommate. His name was Mike, and Mike, at the time, I really felt like I grew up in a generation where it's like, yeah, Derek, you can do whatever you believe in. Like, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish it. Which just sounds very good, sounds very motivational. But I kind of had this sense of entitlement that I was like special. And I remember, I still distinctly remember this was years, years, years ago. We were in the car and he lit into me. He was yelling at me. He's like, "Who do you think you are? You're not special. Like, I'm not here. Like, what do you think? We all live in this life for you." And like, I still remember that car rant, and that humbled me.
Really?
You need somebody to really just give you the medicine
Yeah.
straight up.
No, definitely.
And I was like, wow. Like, I didn't realize how much of an entitled asshole I was becoming until that moment where my roommates literally just let all his emotions out and yelled at me
Wow.
for about 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing, like, how do you know when that kind of feedback is real, or not just a projection of that person's own insecurities?
Well, I feel like it was genuine because in this case, my roommate at the time like broke down emotionally himself, and so I was like, okay, this is actually from a genuine spot. If it's impacting him this much,
Hmm.
um, so I guess it's kind of like a feel it out thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because like sometimes, like you get people who you have friends who get jealous, and
Mhm.
maybe they're projecting, and so it's kind of
True.
hard. It's kind of hard to tell. But I think for me, yeah, I mean, I'll go with that. Like if someone's really crying in front
Mhm.
of you, being very emotional, uh, and that's probably a good sign.
Yeah.
But I think also it's the reflection of how many people feel the same way.
Right.
You know, I mean, there might be that one person, and anytime you receive like a critique from somebody, it might not be true, but you should always just hear it, let it marinate a bit,
Right.
and then decide if is it true or not. But also,
There's
like,
always some element of truth.
yeah, but also check out there with other people. It's like, hey, does that happen? Like, am I like that? You know. So yeah, like I mean, I constantly do that now because like I'm always just wondering like has my ego gone wild again, because sometimes you got in the cage, but sometimes the tire gets out. Like, oh, it's true though, because
Mm.
like you might be just on a good you might just be on a good streak, and next thing you know it's like you're just riding it. You don't know when to stop.
But that's an interesting transition to how do you know if in your tango dancing, right? If someone likes your dance or whether you're doing a good job, if you are a good dancer, right? How do you know someone is telling you the truth and how do you
Yeah.
measure that?
Actually, that's a good question. Like I
Like, how do you know if someone truly likes dancing with you, or maybe they just like the thought of dancing with you? Maybe because you're seen as a good dancer, the perception is real, right? So, like, oh, if they see me dancing with Rob or Derek, then I've made it, and other people will see that, and so I can dance with these other people that I really want to dance with. You're like the stepping stone.
Oh, I was thinking more like stock market speculation. It's like, are we gonna short this person or not?
Oh my god! Short the stock.
but
Oh
I,
man.
but sometimes in a sense, like when you talk about shorting the stock, sometimes you get that with people when they go out and have their vengeance streak, where it's like, because sometimes you'll hear that too. Like sometimes a person will slight you in some way, you know,
What do you mean?
like let's
Like
just
a person you dance with?
yeah, like sometimes like let's just say you dance with someone and like let's say they broke Tonda, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh man, that girl's off my dance list. That's what and
For sure, it would be on mine.
yeah, but you see, like in a sense, if the idea of dancing with that person validates somebody, like the vengeance streak, the vengeance streak of like telling everyone like, yeah, this person's off, like you know, bros, like bros unite, kind of like
Right.
Well, I didn't want to say the other thing because
Yeah.
it might get
I'm proud to say that in my 12 years of dancing tango, I have never broken tanda. I have sucked it up, stood it out, and I don't know if I told the story, but I remember I was dancing with this person at Practica, and she was pretty new, and she was very stiff, and like it was painful. Like she was leaning away, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to do 3 songs of this." And I remember after the first song, I smiled. I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And I was like, "All right." It's like sometimes you buy more time,
yeah,
It's like you start chit chatting, so the second song is shorter
yeah,
because you're like, I don't want to dance. I want to minimize the amount of time I
yeah.
want to dance. So we chit chat a little, dance the second song. I'm like, all right, one more song. And she ended up thanking me after the second song. She goes, "Oh, you're hurting my shoulder.
Uh,
I'm gonna stop right now. Thank you so much." And I
mm,
was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you so much."
you know,
I wanted to say it, but you did it for me, and so thank you. My streak is intact.
no, actually, well, you see, I've broken Tonda twice. Actually,
Really?
Yeah, and but I have to say that it was for good reason.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't go up and say, "Yeah, like thank you," and just walked off.
Yeah.
That so I can say I've never done that.
Okay.
But what I did do was plan an amazing escape.
You sacrifice.
Yes, yes.
The great sacrifice.
Because there is sacrifice, right? So here's what happened. Like there's this lady, and this is at the San Diego Tango Festival back when, like around, let's see, was that around
13,
2014?
14.
Yeah, around there. Um, and this lady was nuts. Like you could just stand there, and she was doing 100 ochos, and you know,
The auto ocho machine.
yeah, yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's like okay, and I remember I was just I actually stood there and didn't do anything. I didn't lead anything. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stand here.
Still going.
She's still going, and I'm like, she didn't realize that I haven't led anything. I would stand there for like over half the song.
You're just a bar, like she's
Yeah.
doing all this stuff.
Well, I'm not even a bar. It's just it's more like I'm just the bumper rails that she's like, you know. And then I'm like, crap. Okay, I'm getting out of this. But here's the other thing. So I noticed that every time she did she did an ocho this way, right? When I turned her to a front ocho this way, she'd always over rotate and do a front kick.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
Interesting.
like it was just it was like a knee jerk reaction. Like
Yeah.
some people have that like their automatic embellishment,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and like some people do like that spinning cross and whatever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, hers was an over rotation to a front kick, and then she'd start with then she'd start with the ocho, and I'd use that
The
to my
automatic leg kick.
yeah, I'd use that to my advantage because I timed it. So I was like ocho kick, ocho kick, and it was like it's like jump rope. You're like and you're gonna run in there. And that's why I did. Like that's what I did. Like I turned over here, and I knew I walked straight in, and she kicked me to my thigh because I leaned into it because I wanted to make sure it's audible. It's like boom, like it was loud because I really leaned into it to absorb the impact.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I was like, then I'm like, like and the lady had the audacity. She's like, oh, you're gonna still dance, right? I'm like no, I need to sit down. So yeah, that's you know, that's the one tanda I broke, and um, I did it under the guise of her kicking me, but I planned it. It's the great escape.
The Great
The
Escape.
great escape.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
I like that one.
no, but yeah, but do I know when if how good I am or what people think is good?
Yeah.
That's hard to say because it's like
Yeah,
you know,
how do you truly know someone enjoys dancing with you?
let me go on a date with you. Cafecito. No, no, seriously though.
Coffee meets tango.
Actually, that's a site.
Is Coffee meets tango? There's
Yeah,
a site?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
It's
Laura does that.
really?
Yeah, not
Oh.
Laura Mingle, the other Laura.
Oh.
Um,
Interesting. I just
yeah,
put the Coffee meets bagel and put tango there and just
yeah. It was a whole like blog about coffee and tango.
okay. Interesting.
But yeah, no. Do you really know? You know, I would say like everything's temporary. you know,
Hmm.
and you just never know. Like it might have been felt good at the time, then they go home and they have something to compare it to, like, yeah, it wasn't as good as last week or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately, it's like you build like I think what it comes like down to is that if you have the confidence to own whatever,
Hmm.
it's gonna and you're assertive about it, people are gonna respect you more. People are gonna respect your dance more.
True.
And as long as you work on it, you can't just go out there and say I got the goods when you don't have the goods at all. It's coming. The goods are coming. No, no, it's not like that. Yeah, I have the goods. But when it comes to being confident, being assertive, and having that play with how you received, I don't want to say that it's like men's makeup, like confidence is men's makeup.
But in a way, it is kind of.
Yeah, in a way it
It's the
is.
boost,
Yeah, it is.
necessary boost.
But I think also it's like every feeling is kind of like momentary, and it kind of dissipates over time.
Mm.
Like there might be a time when I'm go, oh, like that was a nice tanda, and then you dance with the person again, you're like, oh my god, what was I thinking? you know just because like feelings, how well you're connected, it changes over time.
That's
So
true.
everything's just very in the moment. So, do I have a track record of like people giving me like a 5-star review? Like I don't know.
Well, sometimes like after the event's over, they message you privately or
Yeah, yeah,
and they go like, "Oh, thanks for the wonderful tanda."
yeah.
That's probably a clear indicator.
That's a clear indicator.
Or they're looking for you next time you see them at a malanga
Yeah,
and purposely searching out for you for a dance.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that like that's a clear like that's today. You know,
Mhm.
it's like any kind of like sports match. You're only as good as your last win or
That's true.
So like if you bomb, because everyone's got off nights, and if
Yeah.
you bomb and everyone's like, oh, and then you gotta work your way back up and get the stink off, and
I think that's there's some pressure to there's some people that I only dance like I go to a marathon and I only dance maybe one or two tandas with. And that those people actually that I really love dancing with, I actually feel the most pressure with those
hmm,
because I feel like, oh, this is supposed to be a magical tanda
hmm.
and nothing less will suffice, right? It has to be magical or it's an F, right? And so like I feel like I'm more, as because there's some people that you do just dance multiple tandas with. Like I'll dance like 6 or 7 tandas with this person over the span of 2 days.
Hmm.
And then there's people that I just dance one tanda with. Even though I love dancing with it, it's just one tanda. But it's magical.
So is it because you don't know you can top that tanda?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
So
you just
okay,
leave it at that. It's like,
all right.
oh,
So here's a thought, right? Let's just say there's someone you like, right?
yeah,
Someone you like. So let's just build a scenario here. Someone
yeah,
you like, you dance with them, right?
yeah,
Like you haven't developed that relationship yet,
yeah,
right? And let's just say you just happen to dance with them to that Pugliese and it
yeah,
was
exactly. It
magical.
was magical. Yes,
Then boom, no more.
yes.
So, ladies, if you want to dance with Derek, don't dance with Pugliese.
Because how do you top that? You did after the Pugliese, that was magical, right?
Oh yeah, the Troy Marino is just as magical.
That's true. I'll give you that.
You know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
you know.
Well, what do people been playing Malanga next?
Well,
You're just next time it's gonna be Malanga. Like, what are you gonna do? Transition to that?
ah, you know, I love Malanga, but at the same time, it's hard to have that magical moment, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
You just take the time to sit out and smoke your cigar. Your metaphorical, your,
your cigarette.
your
It's like,
metaphorical cigar.
yeah, it's like, was it good for you? It was good for me. Oh, jeez. But going back, yeah, it's hard to know, and I think frequency is a thing.
Mhm.
Frequency is definitely a thing, and yeah, that confidence and assertiveness really helps out. Sometimes, at the end of the day, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, it might just all be in my head.
Like what?
No, because it's like, how do I really know? It's a gut feeling, all right?
Mm,
So where's the tangibility of it?
mhm.
Where can I say yeah? Like like I only know as good as I am from competition.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, like
But
real.
even that is very,
No, but still, it's like
skewed in so many ways.
yeah, it's skewed, but like I'm not in the upper echelons, so
Mhm.
it's not like I have to worry about the spread or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about a spread just to make it to like past qualifiers. But that's what I mean. It's like
But that's not the tried and true test of someone's quality of dancing.
no,
Like that's the visual aesthetic.
yeah, it isn't. But sometimes it's also like how I feel when I compete. Because like there is a judging of it, but it's also like how do I compare to the pressure? Because sometimes you just know someone's better. Just you don't have to look at them; you just feel it.
You just feel it.
Like they have so much presence in the room,
Ah,
and you're just like, I mean, it's like those. I mean, I don't want to make it like it's like those samurai movies where they're like he's got so much fighting pressure. I can't even hold. I can't like my sword is shaking. Like I can't even stand up to this
a
guy.
beacon of light. That's
Yeah, and like like Gandalf's coming down with all his horse, and yeah, I mean,
no. I get that right. I've seen like some performers like all they did was walk on stage, stand there, look at each other, and I'm like, wow, that's great.
yeah,
Just they haven't done anything and they got me in.
yeah.
Yeah.
but like in terms of competition, like to me, I'm trying to go toe to toe with the best in the nation, right?
Yeah.
And like even though I'm not like making the finals or anything, I feel it. Like I feel the pressure. So I don't have to look at their dance. I'm like they could be behind me by two couples, and I still feel it. I'm
You
like,
still
I
feel
don't know who that person is, but he's good. You know?
it. All right. Well, let us know what you think about your own abilities of being assertive, confident, and your own stories of that. And we would love to know in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. If you can, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can keep up to date with us on our newest content.
It really goes a long way with helping us create more interesting and exciting content for all of you. And we appreciate all of your support. Thank y'all so much.